Hey everyone, it is Lucy here. I am joined by Cam.
G'day, Lucy.
Now, Cam, you are going to show us today Submerged.
Yes.
Which you have played all the way through.
Well, yeah, I've kind of finished the main mission campaign yet.
Right, now for those of us, like myself, who know very little about this game, what's the sort of elevator pitch?
Okay, Submerged is a new indie game from the guys at Uppercut, who you might know from the iOS games Epoch and Epoch 2, but they're ex-2K Australia guys.
R.I.P.
Yep, very small team as well, and this is kind of quite a break for them. It's not only is it mobile, it's PC, and they just announced PS4 as well.
Awesome.
And it's running on Unreal Engine 4. And unlike Epoch, which was kind of a clever twist on kind of cover-based shooting designed for mobile devices, this is like an open-world game, but you know, kind of unspoken narrative largely. And yeah, just a really intriguing kind of world. So we're starting from the beginning. So I have played through the game, and I just before we started jettisoned that save. So thanks a lot, internet.
It's
because
for
there's
a worthy
bunch,
cause.
Because when you finish it, you unlock explore mode, and then you can continue to kind of collect the stuff around the world.
Right, so there's longevity there after you finish the
well,
main
yeah, I
campaign.
mean it's a relatively short experience, but what they've done is pretty cool.
Well, I just got to say, like, straight off the bat, like, it's gorgeous looking.
Yeah.
You know, it's a really striking world here, and I love how colourful it is.
Yeah, and so you can see that it's a city reclaimed by nature, submerged, as the title indicates.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've got a brother and a sister, which you don't know that immediately, but they are just arriving in a boat, and there's something going on with him. And so you put him down, and the story kind of just begins to unfold in quite a subtle way.
Right. So, do these characters speak at all, or is it just mostly wordless?
It's mostly wordless. The only dialogue in the game is actually so there's these kind of like story panels that pop up between each kind of major kind of beat in the game.
Yeah.
And they kind of clue you into the backstory of what's happened. And then there are also collectible panels that tell the story of the world.
Right, okay.
And it's all kind of through, but basic kind of iconography and symbols and kind of childlike drawings that you have to interpret.
Right. I see. So he's clearly injured.
He's injured. And so this is the only dialogue you'll ever see.
Okay.
So I need something to stop Taku's bleeding. So that's kind of first port of call.
So is this like, I mean, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but is this, I mean, it looks to me like it's a sort of platform style game.
The gameplay is geared entirely around traversal mechanics, actually.
Right, okay.
What the guys kind of wanted to do was create like a climbing kind of traversal game that isn't about, there's no kind of fail state.
Yeah.
It's quite straightforward. It's meant to be kind of just like a meditative experience almost, where you just kind of enjoy moving through the world. So yeah, like if you look at the map, I mean, there's absolutely nothing uncovered here.
Yeah.
But essentially, like most of this screen is traversable.
Right.
So it kind of points you in the direction of the first place you can go to get the first set of supplies.
Yeah.
But after that, you have like a telescope that you can use to look around, and if you, like Far Cry style, if you see like a hidden cache or something, it'll kind of mark it on the map. And so you after this, you really just kind of start sailing around the world and seeing what's out there, and like the best open world games, you'll discover just interesting landmarks that kind of speak to the city's former glory, or that kind of idea.
Well, I suppose also it's a really nice change from the usual color palette of post-apocalyptica in video games, and I suppose that's what makes it an appealing world to explore.
Yeah, it's and I mean I should kind of say just from the outset that it's pretty kind of binary kind of movement, right?
Yeah.
It's like there are couple of types of ledges that you can jump onto. You know, when you see these flowers, you know that's a climbable surface. Like the visual language is very much like, here is something you can interact with, here is something you can't. There's no real middle ground.
Right.
Like for instance, like there might be a ledge that's 8 foot high, and then next to that ledge is like a crate that's 6 foot high.
Yeah.
And you can't jump onto the crate because that's just not part
It's
of.
not how it works.
Yeah, it's not how it works. And I mean, you got to, I guess, also keep in mind that because this is also designed with mobile in mind, you can kind of feel how this would work with a kind of swipe-based interface.
Right, right.
So it's all very straightforward. It's not buttons. It's just pressing and climbing and lowering yourself. But that's kind of doing it a bit of a disservice, because each of these kind of monuments that you have to climb to get the supplies to help your brother, there'll be numerous other things that you can find.
Right.
So there'll be numerous paths, and the developers have done quite a good job of kind of letting you take an alternate route, but then still kind of directing you back to the main path without forcing you to just backtrack the whole way. And what you kind of also learn is that when you do get to the supplies, which are the end goal for each of these kind of building mission climbs, you don't have to climb back down again. You kind of you find yourself administering the medicine back at your base camp. So that once you've seen that once, you know, okay, I need to find all the other stuff before I collect the medicine.
Right, right.
So for instance here, you know, there's somewhere else to go. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Excuse me.
So it's a fairly intuitive. You said it was quite binary mechanics.
It's really straightforward.
Straightforward.
And so what I'm collecting here are panels that kind of sink into the city's story. So there's all these panels here, and they tell the story of the city, and then there's your story. And so as you get the supplies, you gradually find out exactly why you're here and what's going on. And it's quite a touching story. I like it.
It's a really nice way of telling a story as well. Like very, as you say, very understated, very subtle.
Yeah. And I should also mention that the soundtrack does a huge amount to kind of bring you into this world.
Right, right, right.
So the composer that they've hired is a guy called Jeff Van Dyke, who is quite well known for the Total War series. He also won a BAFTA for his part on the audio on Alien Isolation, I believe.
Ah, okay. Awesome.
But he also has been working on a few other Aussie indie games, like Assault Android Cactus and Hand of Fate, I believe he's been involved with. And so his score is like really kind of soothing, and the way they use it is great. Like it'll kind of come in and bring some impetus to your movements when it's necessary, but then you'll get to a certain height and it'll just fade out, and it'll just be the sound of like the wind, and kind of just give you a bit more of a sense of being isolated, or just how high up you are or whatever.
Now you did mention that you can't die in this game.
No.
So what happens if you fall off a ledge? You can't fall.
That's what I mean by it being very, very binary. You know, like it's kind of you're following the path that's been laid out for you.
Yeah.
So you know but it still works. It's still quite engaging.
So overall, it's you've found it. You've finished the story now. You said that the story was quite touching. I mean, does it sort of change enough in pace for you? I mean, were you satisfied with the kind of the overall tone? Does it have a nice arc? Does it mix it up a little, or is it as you say more of a meditative kind of slightly more flat experience?
I do think they could have potentially taken some of the design work further, but I think for such a small team, what they've been able to achieve is really cool. And there are just some moments that really stand out, like there's this enormous crane that you can see in the backdrop there. And that was like the first thing that I just happened to kind of come across in my travels. And you just climb this absolutely crazy crane all the way up. And as you're climbing up, the camera kind of switches to really cinematic kind of shots from a building like way across, the city. It's cool. Like, I think you kind of have to play this game for not for like how it compares to the traversal in Uncharted, because obviously
The traversal in Assassin's Creed.
exactly
Yeah, yeah,
it's a really different prospect.
yeah.
And you kind of have to just go in like to appreciate what the team has been striving for and what has and hasn't worked within that kind of.
And
that
how
kind of
many
scope.
are in this team? It's 3 of them, is it?
I don't know like how much they have expanded or whether they use contractors here, but it's a core team of 3.
Yeah, which is really impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, it's such a gorgeous looking game.
And honestly, I don't really actually want to. I don't want to get into critiquing this because this is like they've given me, access to this build.
Yeah.
I don't know what changes are going to be made before the PC release. We don't even know when the PC release is.
Yeah.
We just know that it's coming to PC and it's also coming to PS4 sometime this year. So yeah, this is really just about saying, hey, this is a pretty interesting title from an Aussie studio. It's one to keep your eye out for.
Have it on your radar.
And yeah, like. It'll be great to see how it goes when they do release it.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Cam, for taking me through that.
Yeah, no problems, Lewis.
For more on Submerged, stick with IGN.
Bye.